Hi. Hi there. It's been a while since I posted a video or streamed anything. This is kind of beyond the scope of what I usually do, but I'm trying to, rethink what is the right type of content creation and whether I want to continue content creation. But, ideas just struck me in the middle of the night, so here I am trying to record something. Ignore the messy layout that I spent like 10 minutes on because, this is my iPad screen on my phone screen, so either way, it doesn't really matter. This is an account showcase, and essentially it's been 2 years, and well, we're delving into Amphorius, and it's almost 3.2. Yeah, 3.2. Yeah, because well, I think 8 or 9 patches would be 1 year. Panic only lasted a year, I think. Like 2.0, between 2.0 and 3.0 was 1 year, but patch 1 was shorter, like Genshin was for some reason. So yeah, the anniversary patch actually would end up well, the second or third patch after the new region. Either way, it doesn't matter why whoever likes this, but this is the Hangout Showcase. It's not second anniversary yet, so like pre 2 year account showcase. I'm mostly just going to be running through what characters I have, the way I built them, and my general thoughts on the game and how it's progressed over the last 2 years since I started playing in day one, and where I think the progression is going to go, like from a gameplay standpoint. This is not going to be about lore or all that, but yeah, is like once you play the game for a decent while, you start to get a notice or a feel for how the pattern goes. So yeah, this is just my thoughts on this. I would like to preface that I am essentially a free-to-play player. I've only ever spent once on this game, and it was the BP to get this icon, the silver wolf icon that I really like, that came with this Rappa one as well, but I'm never going to use that, so yeah. I only got like a handful of polls from that, so I don't think it should really count. I mean, it's pretty much the same amount of polls I would have gotten if I hadn't missed all those days of commissions, which I have earlier before. But I mean, in the last like few months or half a year, I haven't really skipped anything. I haven't missed events. I think I pretty much logged in every day. I'm not sure where the login streak thing is. Is it here? Oh, longest consecutive 214 days. Okay. And total login days 653. So, I mean, 2 years. I'm just gonna take 365 times 2. That's 730 minus 653. Yeah, I missed like 77 days. Maybe? I mean, it hasn't been the full 2 years yet, so it's probably not that much, but yeah. Okay, characters. I'll just start from my oldest to my newest. I'll just do 5 stars because I have all the 4 stars, and honestly, it's not hard to get all of them. Yeah. Wait, am I missing any of the standards? I don't think so. Who's on the standard banner? I forgot. I just don't really care. Okay, there's 7. Oh, till this day, I still haven't gotten a Yanting. Not that I want him, but yeah, I don't have a Yanting. Okay, I guess we'll start with standards. Bailey was the first 5-star I ever got. Now I have her at E3, and she is somehow still my main healer. We'll get into that later. Japard, E0. I do have his Lycone. I have it leveled as well, but I just don't want to use it. Clara, got her pretty early. Welt, I got him not too long ago. Like, not within the first year of the game. Who else was standard? Oh, Bronya. Bronya was basically like the best harmony, the best support I had before Sparkle. Yeah, but after Sparkle and like after Sparkle and Acheron, like half of the meta shifted towards Break, where Ranmei took a lot more precedence. So Bronya hasn't really been showing up much because you would very rarely run like double crit DPS teams now. I would rarely do that. And when I do, I probably have one team with Robin instead. So yeah. Okay, right. Let's start from the very beginning with the limited 5 stars. Oh, still like one time. Okay, Zila was my first 5-star. I got her really early. Like I think. Oh, first day of the game. Like it was like midnight. Got her on my 11th pull, and I won. Yeah, that was freaking insane. I forgot who I got next. Oh, Silverwolf. Silverwolf. Yes, my favorite. Still my favorite till this day. Like despite being my favorite, I never really pulled for Eidolons for her, which I did want to, but it's like from a meta standpoint, it's like it's never really worth it, even though I still use her with Acheron till this day. But she was more there just because simply her existence, not because like her numbers actually meant anything. But I did get her like cone recently, and I tried to get her E1, but I lost. Yeah. Which is now why I'm close to pity and I'm guaranteed for Castris. Anyways, after that, I'm not sure who came first. Might have been Kafka or Imbiber de Lune. Depends on who came out first. Almost every single character I got on their first run. Kafka, I got decently early and won. Yeah, I still use her till this day. Yeah, I would say DOT is in an interesting spot where, like, it was like one of the smaller categories since like in the like I'll just call it patch 1.0. Like before 2.0, I'll just call it patch 1.0. Yeah, it kind of had its own little place in there, and it was definitely one of the stronger non-crit mechanic teams. Like there was Kafka and Sampo, which was one of the things a lot of people ran. Yeah, but I think after Ranmei and the release of Black Swan, DOT took a lot more precedence, and it became like one of the more core mechanics within Endgame. Yeah, I have Black Swan, but I got her actually pretty late. Anyways, and Babalune, he was good for a few patches, but that was it. Same for Jingliu. She basically, I think basically almost all of the 1.0 like crit DPSs, and you notice that with a lot of the crit DPSs, because they don't really have their own mechanic to work around, they fall off really quickly. They only last like 2 or 3 patches. And I'm not kidding, like they'll be lucky if they survive for like half a year. Yeah. And there are exceptions to this rule, but that's another thing. And again, they're only really good if they're like if you have like E6 and like S5 of them, and maybe they'll be comparable to like a DPS nowadays, but still, like, power creep isn't just about numbers, it's about mechanics. Like at the beginning of the game there was a lot of crit DPSs, but now like there are a few branches and mechanics of DPS that run simultaneously that require their own supports, and sometimes those supports can overlap, which yes, it makes them more valuable, but the DPSs don't overlap. So from a meta standpoint, you really have to choose who is going to be like viable in the long term, and I can tell you you can tell who is going to be viable in the long term. Like some characters simply have better numbers, and the same situation is in Genshin, even though it is a lot less predominant, I would argue. Either way, I'll get into the actual endgame stuff later. Anyways, where was I? Who else did I get in 1.0? Oh, I pulled Ranmei on accident. I was trying to get Suyi, and I knew I was getting close to pity, and I got Ranmei, and I was like, Okay, like something in my gut was telling me to just keep pulling for Sui because I still could not get her for some reason. I just wanted E0 Sui, not even with Eidolons. I couldn't get her, but I got Ranmei. And guess what? She's still one of my best supports. That was the best mistake ever. Best mistake I ever made. Like, she was ahead of her time, not gonna lie. Yeah, she worked with DOT, but like, she came way before Firefly and the whole break mechanic thing. Before Rappa, before Firefly, before Gallagher. I mean, Gallagher is kind of not. Gallagher's not that niche. He can technically work with anything. He's just a healer, but yeah. Moving on to like I guess 2.0. I got Sparkle. Always wanted her. I still use her to this day. I know Sunday is kind of better, and there is Treeby that's power creeping them now, but like I think like what they do is pretty similar, and it's just a power creep of numbers. So honestly, eh. I mean, obviously she won't work with Remembrance characters, but I think for crit DPSs, she is still up there, even though they do have a lot more options because most like more general or even more niche DPSs can somewhat work with crit DPSs. And Acheron. Now this is a big topic of discussion because I would argue that Acheron was actually the most OP of the 2.0 patches. Now this could be personal bias, which I mean I am very biased in this regard because I mean I have E2S1. Seriously, this is my most invested character in terms of polls, even though actually technically it wouldn't seem that much because I mean there's a lot of characters where I lost a 50-50 on, and for Acheron I won everything. I mean everything was a soft pity, but I won everything, so yeah. Okay, yeah. While she is a crit DPS, and in a way her team building is a bit niche, she is, like, everyone has the resources to make her work. I would somewhat say. Like, everyone has Pela. And I mean, like, yeah, Jiaqiu is kind of made for her, but I would also think that Silver Wolf or Jiaqiu, one of them is fine. I personally, I mean, I have E2, so I run, well, I mean, you're looking at my team. It's Acheron, Silver Wolf, Sparkle, and then a Sustainer, which is usually Japard with this Lycone that does help with charging up her ult. But the thing about her being, like, the best DPS within the 2.0 patches is that her numbers were simply so overpowered at her release that she is still viable till this day. And when you look at the endgame stats, like, you can see there's still people using her. Like, probably not E0 S0 Acheron, but like if you're like if you somewhat invested in her, then yeah, it's paying off in the long term. Compared to some other characters, like what are some examples? I'm trying to think. Boothill? I don't think Boothill's not good anymore. I mean, I'm not that familiar. Facial still somehow works, I guess. But when I say Acheron was really good, I mean, Sparkle got power creep twice when Acheron, like, she, like, I think the Herda and an Access numbers are still are kind of made to be better than hers, but like she can still kind of hold her ground. Obviously, I'm not that invested in all the stats and numbers right now, and like again, it's more mechanic power creep than it is numbers power creep. But yeah, the fact that she's still like usable today is a big testament to how Acheron really is Hoiver's favorite child. Yeah. And Face Yao, and then there was like Rappa and Firefly, which Firefly was really good when she released, and she still is sometimes. Rappa was just a somewhat worse Firefly. Yeah, Firefly was really good, and Rappa was just like Firefly without all the favorite child treatment. Yeah, that was pretty much it. I personally don't have that much stuff in the follow-up attack department. I don't have Topaz. I mean, I have Face Yao, but she's kind of on her own sometimes. I never rebuilt March, so I mean, she's still good. So like, Face Yao is not a really strong one. But I would argue that Akron and Firefly are the strongest within the 2.0 patches. Like, they're still usable to this day, and well, Face Yao was a bit more recent. Yeah, but also in general, just the fact that she's Hunt is just not that great. I mean, like, there are bosses for her sometimes, but outside of that, she's just not that good. Yeah. In terms of 4 stars, there is not that much to talk about. Oh, I mean, okay, who did I pull within the 2.0 patches? Robin, I guess. So I got Sparkle, Acheron, Robin, Firefly, Face Yao, Rappa, Black Swan. That is quite a lot during 2.0 patches. Yeah, that was within a span of a year. And I got a triple on Black Swan's banner. It was Black Swan, Welt, Black Swan within a single temple. So I guess that was pretty cool. I can't believe I didn't post that. Yeah. Only recently I pulled for the Herda. Didn't manage to get Sunday, which yes I know. But either way. Okay, here's one thing that I want to talk about. Endgame. So I think for a free to play, I have like a pretty high amount of 5 stars. Like, I do pull like pretty consistently. Like, I think within 2.0 I pulled like every few patches or every other patch. Yeah. And that trend, I'm trying to plan out my pulls better within the 3.0 patches, because we have a pretty good idea of who's gonna come next. Definitely not according to leaks. Yeah. But you would notice I actually don't have a lot of 5-star light cones. Again, the only eidolons on unlimited 5 stars I have is E2 on Acheron and E1 on Black Swan. And the only light cones I have is Dinglio's, which honestly did not serve me that well. I mean, she was really good when I got her, but again, she wasn't really useful after 2.0. Silver Wolves, and this actually did nothing because I only got it recently. Acherons, which I swear, this is probably, again, one of the best things I've ever pulled on. And yeah, that's all the that is all the 5-star Lycons I have. So again, the only serious character I invested in when they came out was Acheron. And like, you've seen all my stuff, and I have like most of the, I would say, like really meta characters during their time. Like, be it Face Yao, Firefly, Acheron, and I guess Dinglio was also really strong before 2.0. Even the Herda now, but she's like yes and no sometimes. Maybe she's just not that built yet. I haven't really touched her build that much. But yeah, you've seen all this, but what I wanted to say was really that I can clear most of Endgame with these characters, despite them not being that well built, and I can tell you, my relics really are not that good. Like, there are some characters where my relics are good, and well, Silver Wolf is one of them, but again, she's an exception. Acheron, I mean, I do spend effort farming them, but I don't think it's like exceptional, you know. I did change up Sparkle's build recently, so I'm actually not sure if this is the best set for her. It's more like I'm testing right now. I've been using Bailu since day one, and I have no limited 5-star healers or shielders. But I can still clear like most of endgame, and by most I mean like for Memory of Chaos I can usually clear floor 11. So I'm usually only missing the 3 stars from floor 12. Oh, wrong tab. For the others, I'm usually missing 1 or 2 stars in the last level. I would actually this is contradictory to what I say, but this patch is an exception because I can usually clear up to floor 11, and I could in the last run. This one got really hard for me. So yeah, I am getting 3 less stars than I usually do. But like, also I do spend like some effort. At least I run it a few times, testing out different teams for like the different end games each time it resets. So yeah, 10 out of 12 is pretty normal for me. I almost never get 9 out of 12. Sometimes I can get 11 out of 12, but it's usually the average would go down to 10. Pure Fiction 11 out of 12 or 10 out of 12 is the norm for me. Yeah. So it's kind of hard to full clear endgame unless you have like you've I think at least gotten like easier S1 or at least you have to invest a bit on the current banner to actually full clear the end game, and maybe even invested a bit on the other DPS needed, because again there's 2 sides to it. But yeah, honestly, I pull for characters I like. I don't really pull for meta. I don't have Ho-Ho. I don't have Treeby. I'm considering pulling for Hyacinth since she is apparently a healer, and I feel like I could use an upgrade from Bailu, but again, I've been using Bailu and Japard since like pretty much day 1. And yeah, I have also used Gallagher, which has stepped in the last like half a year. But also, like, Star Rail is one of the games where like sometimes it's variety over quality, and there are times, and in the long term, some characters that you invest more in will be worth it. Like characters you can foresee that will be meta for quite a while, that are like just really overpowered in their time and are still holding up like half a year later. Then those characters are really worth investing in because they can deal with stuff that the game keeps putting out. Yeah. So like Acheron, Firefly, Face Yao, if you can foresee that, then that's good. And personally, I think the next character that's going to be like that is probably Castris. Her numbers are looking pretty good right now. But like characters like Boot Hill, who else was there? I guess Anaxa or like Mighty. Like, I'm not saying they're not good, but also I'm saying they might not hold up after a few patches. So I would strongly suggest you pull for who you want, because they're gonna fall into one of the DPS categories eventually, and hopefully some of the end game they'll actually manage to help you get something. But like I would also say that chasing for all the stars and all the rewards in endgame just isn't really worth it, and it's probably not achievable unless you actually spend quite a bit of money on the game. So yeah, that's pretty much my conclusion over the last 2 years. And basically the general advice is just pull for who you want, and if you're really desperate for pulls, you should not be chasing at endgame. You should be focusing on making sure you log in every day, do your commissions, log in weekly to do your Divergent Universe or Similar Universe or whatever, and also do the events. Events give the most amount of stellar jade, and I mean this applies for pretty much every gacha game I play, but yeah, you should just focus on logging in every day and doing it, because it will add up eventually. But also, like, logging in for like remembering to log in for like 2 or 3 more days is gonna give you more pulls than like trying to force yourself and to like spend a lot of resin building characters and perfecting relics just to clear endgame. It's not going to be worth it. Yeah, in the end, it's a gacha game, and it's like, if you do your stuff consistently, I mean, you can achieve the same amount of characters I have. I mean, again, I've been playing since day one, so I guess the rate is somewhere there. But also, I have to say, I am not that lucky. Like, in the first year, I was pretty lucky, but my luck has been like pretty bad over the last like year and half a year. So yeah, I mean, I would consider the star rail account somewhat lucky. Like, it's on the positive side, but it's not like I have god luck, okay? But also, just, I mean, if you're gonna be clearing endgame, you should focus on like building teams and characters around the characters that you pull and invest for. Like, I know I'm gonna be pulling for Castris, so last patch I spent a lot of resources full building Remembrance Trailblazer. And also, like, I am probably gonna have to give up pulling for a few of the future characters by future proofing myself and pulling for Castris' light cone. That is my plan going into 3.0, because I know that Castris will be worth it. So trying to spend my pulls there and not really save up for future characters, because I genuinely believe that Castris will be worth it. And I also know that coming up, Hyacinth should be worth quite a bit. And, you know, again, I could use a upgrade to my healer and sustainers. And also my second priority is Hyacinth, because apparently she is going to be DOT, and, well, I already have, well, a good DOT team here, and Hyacinth could fill in the third slot that I need, so I already have characters I need. So I'm playing for future characters in a way you can actually build on top of teams you already have. But it is really important to evaluate what you already have and what you want, okay? Because for me, sometimes the deciding factor between two characters I like almost equally is simply how useful they will be in the meta, because that actually shapes your perception of them. Like, not gonna lie, I loved Rappa when I first saw her, but given how Firefly is just so much better, and I use Firefly just a lot more, I've grown to like Firefly more than Rappa, even from a gameplay standpoint. So I mean, I've said a lot of things, but again, the takeaway from all of this should just be, just pull for who you want. And then try to make the ones you do pull for work in the meta. But again, I would not suggest pulling on reruns. I would not suggest pulling on reruns. It's just not going to be worth it. Because by the time they rerun, they'll probably not be useful anymore. Like, DOT was an exception, but most characters, yeah, no, it's not gonna happen. So I'm gonna end it here. My voice is getting really dry. You can give me ideas on what videos I should do after this, because, you know, I'm just kind of running on nothing right now, and I'm probably not even gonna edit this. This is probably unedited. There's gonna be a lot of weird stuff around. Anyways, yeah. Yeah, goodbye. Why are you still here? Oh my god.